From the 1950s through the 1990s, America didn't just build buses. It defined what passenger transport could be. While Europe was still experimenting, Japan was taking notes, and the Soviet Union was welding steel by hand. American engineers at General Motors, Flexible, MCI, and New Flyer were turning technology into art. Monocoque frames, air suspension, torse-elastic systems, low-floor designs, ADA accessibility, all born not in Stuttgart or Tokyo, but in Detroit, Cleveland, and Winnipeg. Today, we're looking back at 10 American buses the world tried to copy. From the coach that taught Europe how to build integral bodies, to the Canadian low floor that Britain practically cloned 5 years later. Because once upon a time, if you wanted to see the future of public transit, you looked to America. 1953, GM D-4104. In 1953, General Motors unveiled the PD-4104, a bus so far ahead of its time that even Europe had to take notes. It was the first long-distance coach in the world to use a full aluminum monocoque body, an integral frame that carried its own weight instead of riding on a heavy ladder chassis. That one idea alone shaved hundreds of pounds and changed how every country thought about strength and efficiency. Underneath, GM added another revolution: full air suspension, replacing the old leaf springs with a ride smoother than most cars of its day. Power came from a Detroit diesel 671, tucked neatly on its side in the rear, running mile after mile with a low growl that every Greyhound driver knew by heart. Germany's Setra S6, Mercedes 0321, and Sweden's Volvo B58 would all follow this blueprint, adapting the American formula of a lightweight frame and rear-engine layout. Even builders in South America, like Marco Polo, traced their lineage back to the 4104's silhouette. It wasn't just a bus, it was the foundation. Every modern coach, from Berlin to Buenos Aires, owes a little something to the 4104. 1954, GM PD-4501, Scenicruiser. If the PD-4104 was the blueprint, the Scenicruiser was the masterpiece everyone wanted to copy. Unveiled in 1954 for Greyhound's post-war expansion, this 40-foot, 3-axle giant introduced something no one had ever seen before: a split-level, or half-deck layout that gave passengers an elevated, panoramic view of America rolling by. Inside, the seating stepped upward like a theater, turning every mile into a moving postcard. Its lightweight aluminum body and massive luggage bays proved that luxury didn't have to mean heavy. Air conditioning came standard, the first for many passengers who'd only known sweaty, rattling rides. Power came from a Detroit diesel twin-engine setup at first. Complicated, yes, but undeniably ambitious. Japan's Mitsubishi Fuso B80, Germany's Magirus Deutz TR, even Britain's Leyland Atlantean prototypes all tried to imitate the look and layout. The panoramic deck craze would sweep the globe for the next 2 decades, yet none matched the bold proportions or presence of the original. For millions of travelers, the Scenicruiser wasn't just a bus, it was freedom on wheels. And for the rest of the world, it became the coach they wished they'd built first. 1959, GM, new look, Fishbowl. When General Motors rolled out the new look in 1959, the world had never seen a city bus like it. Built from lightweight cast aluminum with a fully integral body, it looked less like a box on wheels and more like something from the space age. Its huge wraparound windshield, the famous Fishbowl, gave drivers a panoramic view, while modular side panels made repairs faster and cheaper than ever before. GM engineers logged more than 6 million miles of testing, shaping the first truly aerodynamic transit bus. Cities loved it. Riders recognized it instantly. It became a moving symbol of modern America, gliding down Main Street in thousands of towns from Seattle to Miami. And the rest of the world noticed. The Soviet ZU-682, Hungary's Icarus 556, even Australian-built Leylands, borrowed its curved glass and smooth lines. For 2 decades, countries tried to capture that same futuristic face, but none ever did. The Fishbowl wasn't just transportation. It was optimism cast in aluminum. No other bus has ever been copied so often, or remembered so fondly, as GM's new look. 1961, GM D-4106. By 1961, General Motors had already changed the bus industry once with the 4104. But the PD-4106 proved lightning could strike twice. It was the first integral coach to be powered by the all-new Detroit diesel 8V71, paired with a Spicer 4-speed manual transmission, giving it more torque, cleaner acceleration, and effortless highway cruising. GM engineers perfected what they'd started: a smoother ride, balanced weight distribution, and a body so precisely built it barely flexed over rough pavement. The 4106's polished aluminum skin, 35-foot length, and ideal proportions made it as elegant as it was durable. Many mechanics still call it the finest bus GM ever built. Its influence reached far beyond America. Germany's Setra S110, Sweden's Volvo coaches, and even Brazilian manufacturers in the mid-60s studied its integral frame and engine layout, adapting the formula for their own markets. Across the Atlantic, European designers admitted this was the textbook model, the standard every coach would be measured against. The PD-4106 didn't just improve on the 4104's ideas, it perfected them, becoming the coach every engineer wanted to understand and every rival quietly wished they had designed first. 1968 to 1979. MCI MC-7, MC-9. By the late 1960s, the American highway had a new king, the MCI MC-Series. The MC-7 and later MC-9 perfected the formula for the modern intercity coach: a fully integral steel frame, high floor layout, massive luggage bays, and a rear-mounted diesel engine that could run coast to coast without complaint. It was tough, easy to service, and built with the kind of over-engineering only the 1970s could afford. This wasn't just another bus, it was the template. Volvo, MAN, and Marco Polo would all follow its silhouette: long, sleek, and slightly forward-leaning, with broad windows and clean body lines that screamed efficiency. In Brazil and South Korea, manufacturers openly admitted their early models were based on MCI blueprints, right down to the frame geometry. For Americans, the MC-9 became the face of the open road. Greyhound, Trailways, NJ Transit, even charter fleets that carried generations of students, soldiers, and families. It was durable, reliable, and instantly recognizable, the kind of machine that defined an era. Look at any highway coach built since 1970, anywhere in the world, and you'll still see it: the unmistakable shadow of the MCI MC-9. 1968, Eagle Model 05. The Eagle Model 05 is one of those rare machines that flipped the script. Born from European roots but reborn in America, it proved that the U.S. could take a foreign idea and make it better in every measurable way. Built for continental trailways to outclass Greyhound's fleet, the Model 05 featured handcrafted construction, torso-elastic suspension, and a quiet, smooth ride that felt more private jet than public coach. Its engineers at Eagle International in Brownsville, Texas, refined every joint and weld, turning a German castborer design into something distinctly American: stronger, smoother, and built to last 1,000,000 miles. Inside, the luxurious wood trim, thick upholstery, and whisper-quiet cabin embodied Trailway's red carpet service. Abroad, manufacturers like Van Hool, Neoplan, and even Castborer itself studied the Eagle's American-made chassis, adopting its stronger framing methods and suspension geometry. It was the first time Europe copied back. The world's luxury coaches began to chase the comfort standard set by this Texas-built legend. The Eagle didn't just bridge two continents. It proved that craftsmanship, when perfected in America, could make even Europe take notes. 1977. GM RTS-06. When General Motors unveiled the Rapid Transit Series, RTS, in 1977, it looked less like a city bus and more like a spacecraft that took a wrong turn into downtown Detroit. Its fiberglass composite body, modular construction, and sweeping curved windshield made it unlike anything else on the streets. Built around a lightweight steel skeleton, the RTS could be serviced in sections. Pop off a damaged panel, bolt on a new one, and it was back on the route. No other bus of its time thought that far ahead. In Europe, engineers from Neoplan, Renault, and MAN took notice. They studied GM's futuristic pod design and aerodynamic philosophy, later applying similar curves and modular ideas to models like the Renault PR100.2 and Neoplan AN440. And for Americans, the RTS was the face of the 1980s city. It appeared in movies, TV shows, and countless city skylines, a rolling emblem of modern optimism. Decades later, its design still feels ahead of its time. 1983. Flexible Metro. While the RTS grabbed the spotlight, another American workhorse quietly earned the world's respect. The Flexible Metro. Introduced in 1983 under the new Buy America mandates, it was built not to impress, but to endure. The Metro featured a heavy-duty rectangular steel frame, a practical modular body, and a mid-level floor design that made maintenance simple and quick. Power came from the Detroit Diesel 6V92TA, a proven engine that could survive brutal stop-and-go schedules from Chicago to Miami. Transit agencies loved it for what it was: straightforward, reliable, and American-made through and through. By the late 1980s, hundreds of metros formed the backbone of U.S. city fleets, serving commuters for decades. And abroad, its influence quietly spread. Manufacturers in Brazil, the Philippines, and parts of Southeast Asia borrowed the Metro's chassis layout and body geometry, adapting the concept into their own domestic buses. It wasn't the kind of design you copied for beauty. You copied it because it worked. Flexible's Metro never sought fame, but it earned something better: respect. It proved that practicality travels farther than flash, and sometimes that's what the world remembers most. 1991. New Flyer D40LF. In 1991, while most of the world was still climbing stairs to catch a bus, New Flyer in Winnipeg decided it was time to bring the floor and the future down to earth. The D40LF became North America's first true low-floor transit bus, built from the ground up for accessibility. Its lightweight aluminum frame, flat entry, and dual side door layout made it effortless for seniors, wheelchair users, and parents with strollers to board. It wasn't just convenient, it was a social equalizer on wheels. When the ADA Act demanded a new level of public access, the D40LF was already there, setting the standard before the law even required it. Within a decade, nearly every major U.S. and Canadian city had one in service, and the world took notice. Britain's Dennis Trident, China's Yutong, and Australian builders all followed its basic blueprint, down to the mechanical layout and floor geometry. The letters LF soon became universal shorthand for progress. The D40LF didn't just meet a new standard, it created one. It proved that innovation could be compassionate, and that accessibility itself could become an American export. 1992 MCI D-Series. When Motor Coach Industries launched the D-Series in 1992, it wasn't chasing style points, it was building the next great American workhorse. Designed as a modular commuter coach, the D-Series combined easy maintenance with the endurance needed for fleets that ran all day, every day. Underneath, a reinforced ladder frame supported the proven Detroit Diesel Series 60, delivering millions of dependable miles for agencies coast to coast. This was the bus that conquered the morning rush. From NJ Transit and GO Transit to Peter Pan and Megabus, the D-Series became the default face of the American commuter highway. Clean lines, rugged engineering, and quick-access service panels made it a mechanic's dream and a planner's best friend. Abroad, its practicality spoke louder than any sales pitch. Manufacturers like Hyundai, Yutong, and Marco Polo quietly borrowed its layout, from bay geometry to drivetrain placement, shaping a generation of global coaches. For 3 decades, it has remained the go-to design for reliable, long-haul service. If you've built a commuter bus since 1992, you've copied the D-Series, whether you meant to or not. There was a time when America didn't just export steel and diesel engines. It exported ideas. From Detroit to Winnipeg, from Cleveland to Brownsville, American craftsmen built machines that made the world sit up and take notice, not because they were flashy, but because they were right. Europe copied the proportions. Japan studied the layouts. China learned the frames. But only America taught the lesson no blueprint could capture. Build it once, build it right. Every modern road, whether in Berlin, Seoul, or Sao Paulo, carries a trace of American DNA. And every bus that rolls today owes a quiet debt to the ones that rolled here first. Which of these buses do you think was copied best? Like if you've ever ridden one of these American originals. Subscribe next time when Europe tried to fight back.